My first week being a vegan was torture. When I first started, I felt so terrible the first 3 days. Like, I think I had started on a Friday, and that whole weekend I was tired. I was sluggish. I felt like I wanted to sleep a lot. Like I just felt terrible. And you know, the more and more that I did it, I could tell the changes that were going through my body and why I was feeling sluggish. I think on my third day, when I was sitting down on the sofa, it was almost like I could feel like the toxins coming out of me. Like, it's like I had so much buildup of all this gunk in my system that I literally felt like the toxins were trying to get out of my system, come out of my body, which would explain why I felt so sluggish and tired and like I wanted to get up. Like, I had a huge headache. I was used to drinking a massive amount of caffeine every day. I would have like 2 cups of coffee a day. So going cold turkey on coffee amongst all these other changes that were going on in my body and, you know, trying to get healthy again, I felt terrible. The first week being a vegan is torture, but if you stick with it, it only gets better. I had more and more energy as time progressed, and I just felt a lot better doing it. So it's been about 2.5 months being vegan. So far so good. I actually like it. It's kind of funny because now whenever I smell meat cooking or I see people eating meat, I kind of like gag to myself. I'm like, oh, yuck, that's gross. Like, I've totally lost my taste for meat. Like, I used to crave it. I would tell my sister that sometimes I'd want to go to like Buffalo Wild Wings and I'm like, oh, I'm in the mood for that chicken. And now I'm just like, I'm not about it. So that was really interesting. Like, I know that was one of the big changes that I noticed when I went vegan, was that I no longer wanted meat or craved meat. Another big change I noticed was getting rid of dairy. I'm a huge dairy fan. I would eat pizza all the time, smothered in cheese. Like, I love the 4 cheese. And now that I've been a vegan for so long, I went out to dinner recently and they put like cheese on a salad. I accidentally ate a little of the cheese because I forgot to have them take it off, and it made me sick. Like, eating the cheese on that salad made me sick, and it was barely a couple pieces, but it was almost like I could like feel it like going through my, this sounds weird, but it's almost like I could feel it like digesting and like the oils or whatever like going through my skin, and I was totally turned off by it. So I think that's really interesting that now like I just can't eat cheese. Like, it makes me sick. So I think those were like the 2 huge things I noticed. Another big thing I noticed was that my energy level is really high. I would live on a cup of coffee a day. I would at least have to have 1 cup or 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Otherwise, I could not function throughout the day. Now I wake up, I'll have like a green juice or a smoothie, and I'll have energy throughout the day. Like, I don't have to touch a cup of coffee. So now if I ever drink coffee, it's because I kind of have a taste for it. And maybe it'll be once every 2 weeks or something like that. So I think that's a huge benefit. So those are like a couple things that I noticed at least. Another positive thing that I've noticed, which is really good, is I was having a hard time losing weight. Before I started the vegan lifestyle, I actually worked out at least twice a week, pretty regularly. I tried to cut back all my calories, but I was not losing weight at all. Since I started being a vegan, it's been 2 months. I've lost 8 pounds, and I have not worked out at all. I live a very sedentary life. I have a desk job. I drive to work, I sit at my desk, come home, and don't work out. So I really don't do a lot. I don't do any heavy lifting. I don't, you know, really lift weights at all, you know. So I think that's amazing that I've changed just my diet and I've already lost all this weight, like 4 pounds a month. 4 pounds, that's amazing by not doing anything, but just eating correctly. Now, obviously, I'll step it up, you know, the next coming months and help myself get more healthy and work out more, but I think it's amazing in 2 months that I've already lost so much weight. So before becoming a vegan, I had a couple health issues that I was dealing with. One of those health issues that I noticed was that I had a lot of constipation from what I was eating. Like I would feel, you know, bloated and stuff regularly. Being a vegan, I have not felt that way at all. At all. It's amazing, like not being constipated, not feeling bloated, not any of that stuff. It's gone, completely gone. Regarding my constipation problems, it was amazing because before I started eating vegan, sometimes I would go a day without having a bowel movement. Like that's crazy. Like I would not have a bowel movement in a day. Sometimes a day and a half, sometimes 2 days. Being a vegan has greatly improved that. I have a bowel movement every day, sometimes twice. I know that sounds gross, but it's important to know because your body's processing things correctly, and you know, that's important. Another thing that I noticed was whenever it's that time of month for a woman, I would get really, 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 really bad cramps. And since I've become a vegan, it has severely decreased. Maybe I might have a little cramping here and there, but that alone, like not feeling extra bloated. I don't gain 5 pounds when I'm on my period anymore. Like I would gain 5 pounds regularly and then lose it after, you know, after you're done with that. But the water weight is pretty non-existent now being a vegan. Like I really don't notice my body changing that much. So that's a huge benefit in my opinion to becoming vegan. Another thing that I had a lot of headaches. Tons and tons of headaches. Pretty much a headache at least 3 times a week. Being a vegan, really don't have headaches anymore. Maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once every 3 weeks. So that's severely cut down, so I think that's a really good plus as well. Lastly, another thing that I noticed about my own health was that I would have a lot of sleeping problems. Like getting to sleep at night, I couldn't fall asleep, I couldn't stay asleep very well. Becoming a vegan, I sleep really well. Not exactly sure why or what my body's doing, but I noticed that I get a lot better sleep since I've been doing this diet. There are a couple downsides of being a vegan. I would say the biggest downside is society. Society in general. When people notice that my dietary changes, like that my diets had changed, like when I'm at work and I'm sitting and I'm eating a lot of salads or different items, my coworkers noticed, oh, you don't have any meat in that? Aren't you going to be tired? Aren't you going to feel sluggish? Where's your protein? And when I would explain to them that I was on a vegan diet, they immediately were like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you torturing yourself? And society has such a negative view of being a vegan that, you know, trying to explain, oh, this is really good for me. It's actually healthy. I do get all my nutrients. Like, the biggest thing people yell at me for is, oh, aren't you getting enough protein? You only get protein from chicken. I'm like, no, you get protein from other places, not just chicken. So that was a huge problem that I had. I felt uncomfortable almost eating in front of people because they just watched me. And, you know, but the more and more that I actually did it in front of my coworkers, and when they would see the different foods that I was eating, you know, they got a little more curious to ask me a couple more questions. So it is hard, but I think that word is getting out in the world, and I think it's a lot easier to get a lot of organic items, and a lot of places are even becoming more vegan friendly, I've noticed. Another downside would be eating out in public, going to restaurants. Going to restaurants is very hard when you're a vegan, only because a lot of the items that restaurants have contain meat. If you look on a menu, it is very difficult to find something A, without meat, B, you know, that people are willing to not put cheese in things. I mean, you could leave a lot of things out of salads and stuff, but I mean, you never really know if you order mashed potatoes or something, if there's going to be dairy in it. So that is a huge problem. When I go out with friends to restaurants, the first thing they ask me is, are you going to even be able to eat anything here? So that is huge, because a lot of people don't want you to go out with them to restaurants because they think you're going to be this huge inconvenience to them. So that's a huge, one of the huge problems that I found being a vegan. However, given that, it's amazing that when you do go out in society and you happen to mention that you're vegan to someone. The other day I was at Lush Cosmetics, and there were 3 girls there that happened to be vegan. I was buying a product that was vegan friendly, and they got so excited, and they all came around me, and they actually shared a lot of restaurants that were actually in my area that were vegan that I didn't even know about. So I think in society it's great that more and more businesses are becoming vegan friendly. So there is an upside, and you can find places, but to get non-vegans to eat with you at a vegan place is impossible. I've tried it, and they're just not for it. So that's really hard when you're dealing with people that do not believe in what you're doing or that do not support you. So will I stick with it? My sister's been here for the past 2.5 months helping me on my journey of being vegan. Showing me things that I should eat, showing me how to meal prep, giving me information on what to do. Am I going to stick with it? Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. I can't ever envision myself ever eating meat again. I just can't. It's just gross to me now. I think meal prepping and everything will be more difficult only because I had somebody here and she pretty much did it for me. So it was easy for me to just come home and be like, oh yeah, that looks great. Let me try this recipe and let me try that. But it's a lot more difficult when you're here alone and you have to think about, okay, what am I going to eat for the week? What groceries do I need? Where do I go to get organic things? Where do I go to get, things, good produce? So it will be more difficult. However, I was given a lot of resources on where I could go to find out a lot of information, such as Pinterest. Pinterest has a lot of good recipes on there. So I think as long as I can keep the recipes fresh and not repeat everything every week and not have the exact same diet every single day, 7 days a week, as long as I can mix it up, I think it'll be very easy to keep this up. My taste buds won't get, used to things, and it'll still be exciting, and I've enjoyed eating more. Actually becoming a vegan, I've enjoyed the taste of food again. Like, food tastes amazing to me now. Before, food was a chore. It was something you did because you had to. So coming home, it was easy to throw in some mac and cheese and stir that up and eat that, and oh, it's a comforting meal. Now I couldn't even imagine doing that. Now I have so many options and so many flavorful things that why would I want to go back to something bland? So yes, I will definitely be sticking with it. Thank you, and wish me luck. Alright, thank you guys for listening. I hope that it helped you in any way, and bye!
So first up is field roast tomato cayenne cheese, and my sister is just going to try the slice by itself. So let's see what she thinks.
Spicy. It's pretty good. I like it. I give it a thumbs up. I'd eat it again.
And now she is going to try the cheese on a grilled cheese sandwich.
That's good grilled cheese. I miss cheese. It's the one thing that was hard